Hey, guys. Once again, back again. Go do your own research. Hope everyone's doing really well. So, I have a little presentation lined up for tonight. We are now on to part 5 of the live reading through Justin Baldoni's full deposition transcript, which I downloaded from the Wayfarer Parties versus Blake Lively lawsuit docket. So what we have been listening to so far is Justin Baldoni taking a very long time to answer every single question. He either doesn't understand the question or he doesn't know the answer, so he has to be asked it again in a more simple way. But one thing he tried to tell us, or tried to tell the lawyers, was that he didn't understand too much about social media and digital, and that he was very frustrated about the rewriting of a movie that he'd spent 4 years on. So before I get started on the transcript, I wanted to share some little bits I've dug up from some of the exhibits that have been coming out. I think this one came out in December of 25. Because it's always good to go back to the facts. And if anyone was watching yesterday, it got kind of interesting because we had a few visitors who were a little bit deluded. And shout out to anyone that was in the chat, because I didn't really notice they were there until probably they'd been there for about 10 minutes. But they were trying to, I mean, I really don't know why they wasted their time coming to tell me that I was lying. They were Team Baldoni and laughing about how many people were watching my live stream, which really didn't hit how they wanted it to hit. Because if they actually looked at the facts, they would see that this isn't going to be a slam dunk for Justin Baldoni, I don't think. Even if it is or it isn't, he's the one that's been lying, and that's what I'm just going to show. Also, they completely missed the point that the whole kind of point of this case, why it's so interesting, is the whole point of what it's showing is that the channels with the most viewers are the ones that are being fed what to say. They are using bot technology to boost and amplify and falsely engage with their content using bots and stuff. Sorry, I forgot the word. False engagement, artificial intelligence engagement, that was it. So yeah, I don't really care how many people watch my live stream, honestly. So hopefully they won't be here tonight. But yeah, shout out to the people that had to deal with that. Anyway, let's carry on. We have this text thread that was presented on the docket from Justin Baldoni. It's one of his exhibits. As you can see, it's a conversation between him and Colleen Hoover, who is the author of the book. So let's go back and see what he said to her. So this was filed, actually it was filed in November of last year. So the first thing he said was, "Oh man, sounds terrible. This is when him and Colleen Hoover got on. It was in April of 2023. Time for you to fly private, he says. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because she then responds, I don't know how to fly private. Like, where are the secret networks I can find out about this stuff? And so he then sends her a private jet company. But anyway, another little thing that I found, because I was like, hang on a minute, didn't he use a private jet company? Well, on the 29th of August, while this was all going on, I thought, let's just have a little break from the transcript and just have some context to what was going on in Justin Baldoni's real life. There we go. Actor Justin Baldoni praises Jet Set Group private jet travel. Wayfarer Studios co-founder Justin Baldoni shares how Jet Set Group and private jet flights helped create a $242 million hit. So there's Justin, apparently from his Instagram, flying on this private jet from Jet Set Group. And it says, actor and filmmaker Justin Baldoni has posted an Instagram video praising New York-based Jet Set Group. Baldoni is a co-founder of Wayfarer Studios. According to Variety, Wayfarer received a $125 million investment in 2022. Yesterday, Baldoni posted as a paid partnership. You see that? A paid partnership. That means he was paid. It's a paid ad. That's an ad. On the Wayfarer Instagram account, shooting hashtag It Ends With Us movie on 2 different coasts with everyone's packed schedules involved coordinating travel and transportation, where even one missed day of shooting could have cost the production millions. Thanks to our friends at Jet Set Group Inc., we always got to where we needed to be. So yeah, in case you didn't clock, he's literally used the movie to promote a private jet service to his followers. Baldoni touts the benefits of private aviation and Jet Set Group service in the post. The post has drawn over 40,000 views in less than 24 hours. And there it is right there. And would you believe the first comment says, "You're the only person in the cast who gets it. Always loved your authenticity and courage in addressing important topics. And it's time for the whole world to see." In the video, when it came time logistically to figure out how to get this movie made, we reached out to our friends at Jet Set, who have just been amazing partners. Blah, 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 blah. This does actually sound like Justin's own words. We're dealing with hundreds of people and the risks are just too high. God forbid a flight gets cancelled and you can't get that actor on set. We might never get that location again and we lose millions of dollars. There's just so much at stake. When it came time to choose a travel partner, that's why we chose Jet Set. They have been such a massive help getting our cast from New York to LA and back, with all the crazy things that happen during production. They've been there the whole time. And the CEO of Jet Set said, "It was great being part of this project. It's a great example of the value of private aviation," says Jet Set Group's CEO, Steve Awfully. Yeah. So let's go back to this conversation between him and Colleen. Colleen got backlash for promoting a nail polish line on the back of the movie, or sorry, on the back of her book. So he said on the 30th of April, 2023, Blake has most recent draft with her, seeing her tomorrow. Can send them if that works. We are basically going through and adjusting each scene. We'll need your feedback on all of it. So I guess they're talking about the rewrites of the script. So, like I said, he sends her a private jet company called JSX.com. This is Mr. I'm not about money. I'm about doing best for humanity. That's why I need to fly around in a private jet. She said, "Thanks for this. And if you want to get me something updated, I'll commit my whole day to it today and or tomorrow." That would be amazing. So then we get another message from her, and she says quite a bit more about the script. This is her exact words. "I don't have script notes yet, but I wanted to give my thoughts as a viewer of movies rather than a writer of books real quick. The first kiss is the most important part. Some movies put so little emphasis on it, but it's the thing we wait for. The build-up, the what made them kiss at that point moment. So the convo that leads up to that first kiss needs to be something emotionally impactful, even if it's just one sentence. Something that makes each of them give up fighting against this moment. I think where everyone gets it wrong is they think it's the sexual attraction that we want to see. But it isn't. We know there's sexual attraction, we see it, but we want that first kiss to be powerful in so much more than a sexual way. As far as sex scenes you asked me about, there are readers who love to read those, which is why I put them in the books. But as an author and a reader, I much prefer the stolen glances, hand grazes, things like that in a movie. Now, I've not actually seen this movie, but from the amount I know about it, which is a lot by this point, I believe the first kiss that she's talking about here is what they wanted to include in the rooftop scene, which is the one that Ryan Reynolds is accused of rewriting when it was supposed to be written by a woman. We were discussing it, or it was being discussed in the last bit of the deposition. I'm just going to say hello to some people in the chat. Good evening, Shift. Good evening, Kayla. Very good to see you. Hoover knows more about the female gaze than Justin Moon in the audience. Well, this is what we're about to, this is why I brought these texts up, because, you know, anyone that thinks that Justin is being honest in his deposition is really not thinking straight. There's nothing honest about it when you read these messages. That's why I'm showing it. Also, let me just say as well, this woman, Colleen Hoover, she has gone public with her diagnosis of cancer recently, and apparently the same kind of people that came into my chat yesterday are going over to her pages or to articles writing about it to write disgusting comments saying she's milking her cancer for publicity and that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's how his fan base, that's their mentality right there. Anyway, going back to this message, she said, it's fun sitting alone and reading detailed sex scenes to some people, but not many want to be in a theatre watching them, right? Because otherwise, you know, they have special kinds of theatres for those kind of movies, from what I remember. Or they're called 18 plus. In movies, it's way more important we see those angsty looks and forbidden small touches, flirtation, than any extended sex scene. Fade to black is always nice in movies. Some of these movies that focus on romance think women want to watch sex, but they couldn't be more wrong. This is the author telling him this in a text. We want to watch love and emotions and angst and build up, and then using our imagination from there is fine. Anyway, not saying this as a reader of the script, because I have no idea what you guys have done with these parts of it, but I wanted to give my thoughts on the overall idea. I would love to see as a viewer. I have no doubt you and Blake will be convincing and can't wait to see the script updates. Henny Grace, that's Justin's alias, replies, that's actually what Blake wants too. She never read the book and doesn't want to make a raunchy movie, which I agree with. The question is, will people be upset if we go to PG-13 instead of R? Because the book is so filled with sex. Like, if he doesn't say, I want to F you, what's he say, etc. Then he sends a picture of the actress, Isabella, who was playing the young Blake Lively. Colleen, who says, wow, how? Okay, let me simmer on this question. Listen to this bit. I actually like that she hasn't read the book. I think it's important to have both sides of input. Justin loved that. He loved that reply. And then she said, I don't think the book is filled with sex. 2 scenes or 3. I don't think it's the sex scenes. I don't think it's the sex readers are hoping translates into the movie. This is not her first ever book. This is someone who has had a long history of understanding her audience. She knows what she's talking about. Now, as far as the rating, how many Fs can you say? Any at all? Because I think if we need to cut down, the most important one is when Ryle says Atlas, the homeless guy, you pity effed. I was a bit like, this doesn't sound like my kind of book, I can tell you. I think there's a way to make the rooftop scene. The rooftop scene, see? I think there's a way to make the rooftop scene where he says, I want to F you so good, without that awkward line and without readers even noticing it isn't there. Things like that don't translate well to film. That's where I felt 50 Shades got it wrong sometimes. And then Justin replies with 5 hearts. She goes on, honestly, this book did not resonate at all for the sex. It was the emotion. Johanna made me add an extra one because she knows that's what readers want in their books. I guess that's the editor or the publisher's spokesperson or whatever. But don't be worried about this movie not being sexy enough, right? This is a movie about a woman rebuilding her life as a victim, as a survivor. That was meant to be the message of the book. I think it's important and it needs to be seen by teenagers too, right? That's why they wanted it to be a PG-13. And teenagers love angst and sexiness and emotion and anger and a few bad words, lol. Henny Grace loved that. Okay, you are awesome. I think I've been afraid. He's been afraid again. To take the readers in a different direction. But it feels like that's what the movie wants. More about the love story with Ryle and Lily. We have to believe they love each other for us to not judge her for staying. It's different in the book when you have hundreds of pages, but we only have 45 minutes. Colleen replies, so true. I know, we're both swamped, but if you want to zoom at some point and go through this script, let me know. No one knows my readers better than me, and no one will eventually know the viewers better than you. I do. Blake and I are on flight writing now. I think it's getting really good and interesting. Now listen to this bit as well. By the way, he was on a flight on Blake Lively's private jet, which I don't think did a promotional advert for, but anyway, maybe she did. I don't know. I just feel like we would have heard about it if she did. There's a big writer's strike midnight tomorrow. So we need to finish script, and then any changes we make have to be not official. You hear that? There's a big writer's strike midnight tomorrow. Colleen, oh dang, I didn't realize that was tomorrow night. Okay, I just landed, but I did read the whole old draft I had on the plane and made notes. Let me know tomorrow at any point you're free and I'm yours. Send me those notes and I will apply what I can. So that's the end of that. So yeah, he's acknowledging that the scene needs to be written on that flight he's on with Blake Lively. We have another text thread about the rewriting of the scene story. So this was Justin texting Melissa on the 15th of August, 2024. And he said, no worries, because he was trying to call her and she was on a closed set, which I believe was it was in Puerto Rico. I believe it was when they played a trick on the BBC reporter that came to do an interview with Logan Paul. But anyway, no worries. Quickly, my partner Steve asked about flipping the narrative from the leak this morning about Ryan saying script was a disaster and he saved the movie. So actually, it's working on our favor, says Melissa. RR looks the worst and continues to play into that narrative of them being awful. It's playing good for us, bad for them. Justin doesn't listen to that. He carries on to something about Ryan claiming the female hired was feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc. One sec. Sorry, my daughter just came in the room and then she left. One question. So what happened between July 22 and May 23 that he had to do an R-rated film? Well, exactly. He was developing the script with Christy Hall. Is it Christy Hall or Kirsty Hall? And you can see the way he's sending those messages. Like, he thinks this film is all about sex, and Colleen's telling him, no, it isn't. Christy, thank you. So yeah, and given the way we see him interacting with females, whose idea do you think it was to make this film to make the script about sex? And whose idea do you think it was to make it a PG-13? Any guesses? Anyway, let's go back to this. This is an easy flip. Then Melissa says, but Tatiana Siegel from Variety wants to do a follow-up call with us for a story similar. We've got a call in an hour. And the fact that they saved the script from what they think is a disaster after we had a green lit script and was a strike, basically, implies they were scabs, which we should 100% lead them to. This is Justin. I just wanted a truce. Please just put out positive stories. Baldoni. Melissa says, oh, that bit, I'm all over. And then he says, because, you know, Melissa hasn't been doing PR her whole life, like probably one of the most devious people I've ever come across in my life. He says, it's a man coming in to say this female writer sucks and I need to save it. Let him drown in his own pool. And I think the reason why he said let him drown in his own pool is because I believe he has a franchise called Deadpool. I'm learning so much about these people that I didn't want to know. And doing it while there was a strike. Melissa says, I'm all over this strike. It's a shame she didn't know who the actual scab was. Well, she does now, if she sat in on that deposition. There is no truce here. Someone should tell his team that we are ready to fight if they keep leaking this shit. I mean, Danny G. It's going to be bad for them. Legal shit. I'm ready. Melissa said, our lawyer is prepped and ready. Brian Friedman is on speed dial. And then Jen steps in and says, you know, we really need to be smart about our replies. She actually tries to rein it in. And Justin says, okay. But yeah, so that was actually one of Melissa Nathan's exhibits. So what else have we got? Well. I was like, I swear to God, Justin was obsessed with social media while this was going on. Whereas in his deposition, he's really trying to say, I couldn't be reached. I was so busy with everything I had going on. I stayed completely out of it. We have a group thread here called Team JB Social Media. And on it is Jamie Heath, Mitz from Wayfarer, Jen Abel, Henny Grace, the owner. It's literally his group chat. Melissa Tagg, Jerry S. Blackman, Matthew Mitchell, Jennifer Abel, Henry JW social team, James social media, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and I think that's it. So what are all these? These are all screenshots that he's been sending, videos. Then we've got him on a set. Keep going. James, social media. Okay. By the way, when was this? This was up. This was filed on the 13th of November. Okay, our team is working on this. Here's the first round of content for you to approve, JB. This would all be for IG stories. And so we have, which is still on his IG, I think. He's at the coffee shop, and James social media has done a little caption saying, "Thank you guys." And then there's some influencer, I guess. Marielle, whoever that is. Justin, under his alias, instructs, cut off some of the top of the Marielle post. Not loving the macho one, maybe set it to music. Macho man. And instead we say, I'm a macho man. Make it funny. It's too serious right now. Lovely meeting the women of X coffee shop. Thanks for letting me make a matcha. Thanks, JB. We'll get these updates to you shortly. Justin says, sorry to ask, where are we at with premiere after party stuff? Shouldn't we have posted that already? Premiere after party stuff. Like, according to his deposition, one of his reasons for being in crisis was that he wasn't allowed to go to his own premiere. We have the carpet asset above for your review. The carpet asset. You mean when you were on the red carpet at the premiere that you said you weren't allowed to go to? We'll reshare, and the after party ready for your review. So then he's updated the social media posts as to Justin's instructions. Also, are you guys going through and approving tagged photos and posts of me that are supportive? I'm not seeing that. For the photo with you and all the ladies, updated caption to blah, blah, blah. But could be Wi-Fi. Oh, the other thing I was going to say as well is about the after party. I think the after party was them in the basement. I really do. I think that was their after party. But he made that into, I was locked in the basement. The reason why I say that is because they're all dressed up in there and they're all having drinks out of red cups and they look like they're in party mode. But I could be wrong. I'm just making a little analysis. So yeah, then James says, where was it? Unwatermarked premiere photos, Wayfarer and family. See? Wayfarer and family. That was his whole family there. Hey, just landed. Listen to this bit. Listen to this bit. What is the TikTok strategy? I'd like you guys to start posting me only talking about domestic violence and clips and why this movie is so important. We can definitely focus on just those topics for TikTok. The next pieces we wanted to post on there and also on IG Reels are the carpet/screening video, the after party video, and this IEWU asset caption. Jennifer says, let's post something about DV first. Would love to post this interview clip along with the drafted caption. It's easy to ask, especially as men, why do women stay? But the real question we need to ask is, why do men harm? This journey has taught me so much, but the most profound lessons have come from the brave stories of survival and strength that have been shared with me. We'd tag CBS Mornings, The Anchors, and no more. Justin says, let's change my bio and link to a resource for survivors, please. On TikTok, and I guess he means IG. Yeah, he does. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is available. Visit No More for more info. We can definitely do that. Your link goes to a link tree so we can make No More the top link there. I'll just make sure that works for the character count and can make those changes right now. Justin says, can we lose the link tree and just make it No More? I wouldn't do that, JB. Too drastic too soon, says Jennifer. Make it top link within Linktree, the first thing you see. Okay, Jen. What about adding it to the top of the Linktree? And also, how's this for a caption? It's easy to ask, especially as men, why do women stay? But the real question we need to ask is, why do men harm? This was not an easy story to tell, and yet it was profoundly important. I've learned so much. I'm so grateful for all the support and the partnership with my friends and the charitable partner to this film, nomore.org. Another thing that I found out along the way of my research wasn't one of the directors of No More a director or on the board of I think either financial board of Wayfarer, which is a bit of a funny coincidence. Then let's start rolling out the content to support. Oh, look at that. Jen had to remind him, we are so grateful. Oh. Adding Jamie for his thoughts. Oh, gosh. Bad idea. I would add Melissa to this thread. Yes, just tag No More in the link caption. Just tag No More, not the link in caption. If someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is available. Justin said, no, I thought Jen said not to put the caption in my bio, ? But caption an IG bio. This is a lot of conversations going on for someone that doesn't know anything about social and digital. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. It's very long, this thread, so I'm going to flick through a little bit. Jennifer says, it doesn't feel performative. Now that you've done major substantial press on the topic. Insert your own thoughts. Doesn't feel performative. That whole thing I just read out, that didn't feel performative at all. That felt completely 100% unperformative. Blah, 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 blah. Then he says there's also this, sends a whole load more Instagram things. That would be good to reshare. And yes, had that one earmarked for our next round of story shares. Stories, yes. The DV clip from CBS Mornings has been up for about an hour. And if you're aligned, we'd like to put this Tonight asset next. Up to Jen. That's good for me. Thanks. Yes. Did we share the Forbes story as well? The Forbes story. Oh, is that a digital media story? Oh, yes. So it is. Sorry. I just found this highly amusing. Yes, shared to your stories from Wayfarer and included the link earlier today. Oh, God. Yeah, why not have a picture of me kissing my wife on the lips? That's really going to resonate well with survivors of DV, I think. Love that. Y'all are such couple goals. Great on Forbes. We tagged him? Yes, we tagged Jeff Conway. Justin, do you want to shoot a quick video that you're almost to Wayfarer Theatres and how excited you are to see everyone and celebrate this beautiful film? Great, guys. Please post a... blah, 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 blah. Travis is getting tagged. Amazing comments on CBS post, guys. Okay, so that was that one. But there's more. There's more. Sorry, I just couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. Look at all this. Look at all this. This is, I believe, what was this? This was a group thread. Basically, they're them just sharing TikToks and Instagrams. Well, Justin said about a TikTok, what the hell is this? Really? Sony? Question mark. And then he sends a Hollywood Reporter article. This is all wrong. And they didn't buy the rights to produce the film. They didn't produce the film. This is a blatant lie about her advancing domestic violence combos. So, wait, this was sent on the 15th of August. So I wonder if he went and changed his link in the bio whatever it was. What day was that? I can't remember. Oh, it was on the 8th. Right. So he's getting really pissed off now because he's like, I've been promoting this, and she's the one that they're saying. It's like, anyway, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I think that was another, this was another message that I couldn't actually see. But anyway, he's just constantly bitching about everything on social media. Oh my God, listen to this. Hi, I'm Sony, and I'm going to cozy up to Ryan and erase Justin. Let the fans handle, I guess. It's just crazy. Sony has no spine, and yet, as Jamie says, they are doing their job. So they talk about, yeah, let's have another phone call about it, blah, 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 blah. Justin, I'd like to have a team call anyways. Mr. Oh, I was hardly there. I was busy promoting the movie. Jamie actually said something sensible for the first time in his life, but I'm not going to bother reading it. I'm just saying. Basically, he was saying, look, it was just an article. Let's just move on. Justin wasn't really happy to just move on. That's my point. Later in the day, he asks, are we doing anything to influence this stuff, or is this real people helping and coming to my defense? Jennifer says, no bots, no fake accounts, none of that. Real people coming to your defense. Trust. It's astounding to see the enormous, she actually said it herself. It's astounding. It's astounding to see the enormous outpouring of support, but it's real. People are thinking it's sus. And watch that video. Just want to be mindful of a swell turning. But you guys know this game. I've never been involved in anything before. Yeah, we saw and flagged that earlier. And of course, there are people who speculate and discuss and poke holes. That's how they make a living on the internet. Yeah, most of the people that make a living on the internet are actually the ones talking bullshit. The minority may feel loud, as we have discussed, but it's still the minority. Yes, we are keeping eyes on it all, and yet let's not be dissuaded by the 10%. We know, this is Jamie. We know there will be people who fan the fires from the East, but if the majority are speaking from the West, then damn it, let's live in the West and simply keep an eye on the East. Yes, I'm now a poet. Also, it's late on the East Coast, and we are probably keeping people up. Let's go dark. So I have a feeling they were talking about a TikTok where they were discussing the use of bots, as in what happened with the Johnny Depp campaign. Because I think in another conversation, I can't remember if it's on this one or not, Melissa says, I can tell you it was us 4 girls that worked hard on that campaign all by ourselves. There were no bots involved. Right, where was I? I don't want to read every single message, but I think you're getting the idea here. Justin is fully involved in every step of this. Justin again, I'm a little bit more concerned about these TikToks claiming they know information and there are some dark, disturbing stories about me that are going to break as they're getting DMs. And the only way that would be happening if they're alive. What time works? Justin, I'd like us all on if possible. We haven't had a regroup. He's very needy. Melissa said, I personally am not concerned about this because we all know there are no dark and disturbing stories. It's just socials acting exactly how they always act in any situation. They want more clicks, they want more views, and at the end of the day, they will all be regurgitating complete rubbish. And referencing the this is it, yeah. And referencing the Australian podcast you saw, that's complete garbage, I can tell you. Hand on my heart. There was 4 human women working on that trial, and I was one of them. Not one Russian bot in sight. It's actually very similar to what you're having right now. The outpouring of love and support being weaponized against you by her side because it can't be true. That was the very, very trustworthy and mother figure, Melissa Nathan, speaking there. Someone who's never lied in her life. Someone who covered up the death of a woman, by the way, as a favor. Justin, I appreciate you walking me through this and holding my questions. It's all a first for me. Which is even more reason we are on your side, because you have never had one issue before. Little does she know. Or she's just lying. Probably both. And why the internet is too. It's not bots. If I see that narrative one more time, I'm unleashing the Harvey article. I think she's talking about Harvey Levin there. Still talking about the phone call. Blah, 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 blah. Let me see if there was anything more here. Katie Case was on these messages, by the way, the woman who he said he didn't know who she was. Got more Instagrams. Justin Baldoni. People has been pretty terrible. Nice to see them post it. My dad posted it a few days ago. But of course, it was much more about Blake. Yes, for sure. I flagged this to Elizabeth yesterday. Yeah, I think she felt the pressure after our call last night. Jennifer, remember this is a group thread. Can we have digital team boost this interview? Yes, for sure. Melissa responds to, think she felt the pressure after our call last night. It was a very strong teamwork call at 11 p.m. No wonder these people are so demented. Yeah, I think she felt the pressure after our call last night. Laughed. I'm confused. Okay, they all think it's a great big joke. Justin from Claire Wineland Mom. Hi there. Is there anything we can do at Claire's place to help? I think she was one of the people from My Last Days. Then he sends another message from his trainer. God knows what they're meant to do with that. This to me feels like a post or something to amplify. This to me feels like a post or something to amplify. Signed, Justin, I don't know what digital means, Baldoni. And then before I end this, because I know it is a little bit boring, I even talk about the new cycle and clickbait. Definitely, says Jennifer. Let's boost this AP piece. Should I reshare on my stories and TikTok as a feed post, says Justin. Bree answers, this video is great and we have pushed it out digitally. In terms of you posting it yourself, I would avoid resharing anything that's essentially a response to negative feedback. As caption here is, responds to critics who say film glorifies DV. I think these next few days regarding what you post on your personal channels, we should focus more on the positive feedback, responses continuing to highlight the themes of the film, etc. Also, the Brandon people piece is showing up online, great traction and reception. Great, thanks, says Justin. Amplify, says Justin. All these fan videos I make for people are starting to come back to help me. Oh, is that the ones with your teenage fans that somehow knew where your filming location was? Okay, one more before I get back to the transcript. Okay, so he sends a TikTok, and I believe it's the Dermois account, which we now know is one of Melissa's good pals. And he says, Melissa, here is your friend, yuck. And Melissa says, yes, but she's also giving you some good shout outs as well. She's doing both. She said she had no choice because she's inundated. Justin says, yeah, seems a bit biased to me, but I'm also sensitive. Then I knew there was going to be another juicy bit. Justin says, Colleen just texted this to us. First time we've heard from her. Can someone please send Jamie the actual context of what I said so he can respond to Colleen? This should be on video recorded from the rap. I never said I changed his fate. I said I didn't want to see him at the end of the movie as it was too complicated to explain how he was co-parenting and would draw too many people in. And she agreed. This has nothing to do with the book, and we don't control the rap and their headlines, just as we don't control all the negative and untrue things she and Blake have been saying about me and the controversy they created. You sure about that, Justin? We haven't leaked anything, and we've taken the high road. The whole time, even after she betrayed me and ghosted me. Yeah, so, oh my God. He's just so, I'm sorry, he's just so full of shit. Can we please have our regroup with everybody, including Melissa? I'm sorry, I don't have the capacity just right now in this moment to be the bigger person and do that. You have to remember that it was her betrayal that landed me in the hospital. It's been devastating to me. This message makes my blood boil. Wow. Later on, can we all talk? I believe this was when Melissa was available. Available as well whenever we can get on. Happy to connect. Da, 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 da. Oh my God. Yeah, this is just so that he can send a reply to Colleen. Oh my God, I had literally forgotten about this. I'm going to dictate something. Jamie, add this to your text message back to her in any part that you want, but this is just what I need to say. Justin is not out to hurt anybody. And there hasn't been one lie that has come out of his mouth. All he's been doing is singing the praises of you and everybody else, and sticking to the message of the movie, which you knew he cared about from the beginning. He's asked you about the second book to understand the trajectory of Ryle's character as he was developing the script, which you also understood, as he included you on that decision. The above headline is taken completely out of context, but that is not our doing, as there is a PR war going on. And we are the ones that are not leaking anything. That really hasn't aged very well, that statement. Or trying to destroy anybody. This entire situation was set up to be a smear campaign against Justin, and it clearly backfired. Justin didn't want any of this, as he's loved and adored. No, he's loved and adored you for 5 years. If you actually read the interview, you'll see he says exactly as it happened, which was a decision that you also supported. It had nothing to do with the second book or not wanting to be a part of it as an actor or changing Ryle's fate. It had everything to do with, after seeing an edit of the movie, realizing that we did not need to open up a can of worms and show an abuser co-parenting without showing all of the necessary work that had to happen to make that possible. Huh? You also know this, as he involved you every step of the way. Wayfarer is also not talking and are not firing back. We are continually speaking highly of everyone. Really sounds like it, Justin. It really sounds like it. We did not ask to be in this situation. This was all created and easily could have been avoided. Well, yeah, that bit is true. That bit is really true. Oh my God. Jamie said, I didn't see this, Justin. I replied already. Justin said, I think your response was way too nice, dude. And I'm a bit frustrated. But I understand the game you're playing. Anyway. You get the point. You get the point. You can go and look at this. It's all on the docket. But yeah, the fact that he needs all these people to help him write a reply to Colleen Hoover is unbelievable, because he's so insincere. He's so insincere. He had to be 100% reined in. And then he's coming out with all this. Colleen, I'm sorry that you're hurting. Anyway, I don't know how much this is way too long. So let's get let's get to the transcript. She said nothing about Saudi bots. Yeah, exactly. I think these bots come from all over the place. And anyway, if anyone's following the legal action that's going on with Spotify, because that's really interesting, Drake, they have evidence that Drake, who's also Melissa Nathan's client, has used bot farms to artificially inflate the streaming figures, and it's they use VPNs to make it look like they come from the UK, but they're actually based in Turkey. So, you know, these services are so easily found online. But yeah, so I think that's enough of my extra exhibits for tonight. We are now going to get back to the transcript, and we have that sort of context in our minds, because remember, they asked yesterday if he knew when Jen Abel left Jonesworks, and it was August the 21st, and those messages were on the 15th of August. So that was a whole week before she left. And so we have Ms. Shah. I think I keep forgetting how to pronounce her first name. I think it's Shireen. I could be wrong though. I don't want to mess it up. She asks, okay, I want to talk about the period of time while you were filming It Ends With Us. And I want to talk about conversations that you had directly with Stephanie Jones during the filming. Okay, do you recall any conversations that you had directly with Stephanie Jones during filming? I remember she came to visit me on set, which was lovely. I mean, that really is the fact that she took time out of her day to come all the way down to New Jersey when she's based in probably Manhattan or something like that. Do you recall any calls that you had with her during filming where you were concerned or upset about any incidents that had happened on set? Right now, I don't. Is it possible that there may have been calls between you and her during filming that you just don't recall right now? Objection. May I ask a clarifying question? Sure. Do you mean just me and Stephanie Jones? No, I mean between you and Stephanie Jones, whether or not there were other people on the call. Oh, so then I misunderstood. Oh, sure. Okay. I do remember a call with me, Stephanie Jones, Jen Abel, and I believe Jamie Heath and myself. Okay. Tell me what you remember about that. I don't remember when it was. I think I remember when it was. I think I remember when it was with a teddy bear emoji on the 11th of November, 2023. Well, that could have been another one. I remember giving them an update on what my experience was like filming the movie. I remember sharing some of the moments of conflict that I had with Miss Lively, just how difficult this movie was. I don't remember it being a long conversation. I remember her responses. I don't remember how long the conversation was. What do you remember about her responses? I remember laughing because she got very protective of me and said things that I will not repeat on camera about Ms. Lively, and things she heard about her and Mr. Reynolds. And she talked about a lot about Mr. Reynolds and how terrible he was. And she kind of like was acting like a mama bear. Don't mess with, and I remember that because she was approaching it like she's been around for a long time, so she knows the inside scoop. She's been a publicist for so long. And I think she represented The Rock. And she had said on that call, Mr. Reynolds had like terrorized The Rock or something to that extent. Yeah. Mr. Reynolds had terrorized The Rock. I think you need to know that what I've heard about The Rock is he might have a problem with taking too many steroids. He definitely takes something that makes him act very aggressive and erratically. It's not just Ryan Reynolds that has had a problem with him. Anyway, Carry on, Justin. She had said on that call that Mr. Reynolds had like terrorized the Rock or something to that extent. Something about a letter. I don't remember the details, but something about like he had written a letter and it was like they wouldn't do press together. I don't know. It was a lot of gossip. But that's why I remember laughing, because I was just like, oh. Did you feel supported by her on that call? Yeah. As I said earlier, it kind of felt like, oh, don't worry. She's this and that. It will be fine. The movie's going to come out and it will be awesome. And everybody's had a bad experience with her. It was like that kind of call. And did you feel like she believed what you were relaying to her about your experiences on set? Yes. I don't remember sharing much. Really? You didn't share much? That must have been a first. But what I did share, I just shared the truth. And she, yeah. What do you remember sharing with her about your experiences on set? I specifically remember sharing the situation with our trainer and asking him about what he thought Miss Lively might weigh. When we shot the scene where I had to pick her up because of my back. And how then they confronted me the next day, and how this trainer evidently then went and told her that I was asking about her weight or something. So in actuality, this meeting that he's talking about occurred before they started shooting. This was in the pre-production. So yeah, this was way earlier than November. This was January of 23. And also, Justin Baldoni was having, he doesn't disclose this, but he was having, what's that thing called? Those injections? Stem cell? He was having stem cell injections into his spine, like the year before. There's a video on YouTube of him doing it. Anyway, that's the thumbnail that I used yesterday, where he's got that shower cap thing on. That's when he's getting his stem cell injections into his spine. How they then confronted me the next day, and how this trainer evidently then went and told her that I was asking about her weight or something. I mean, whatever. What's the big deal? I was fat shaming her. So what? They shouldn't be annoyed about that. And then how that became this big thing, because it is a big thing. It is a big thing. And they sat me down, and I just remember her kind of not being able to believe that that was even a thing. I believe I shared with her that I had a stutter. I'd made a comment about the way Jenny Slate looked in her wardrobe. You see how he's like minimizing everything at this point, I think it's called. I had made a comment about the way Jenny Slate looked in her wardrobe, and then I used the word sexy. And I think she started responding by joking about how, again, I don't want to, if it's okay, repeat the words that she said, but generalizing the women and their fragility. And then I talked about the wardrobe and how hard it was with the wardrobe, and just that it felt like it was just a very hard experience. Like, that's kind of what I remember. Do you remember sharing with her anything else regarding your experiences on set in that call? This whole thing with the wardrobe as well, like, they never really say what it is, but I just feel like it's related to her body size and shape after literally just giving birth weeks before. I did actually look up the costume guy, and yeah, if anyone wants to be critical of the wardrobe choices, I would have a look at him. I remember sharing how proud I was of the movie, but that it was really just really hard. Like everything in my life. I was like really proud of the work. We hadn't talked in a long time, so it was kind of like I hadn't talked to Jen either. It was just like a check-in about everything. Do you recall sharing with her anything else about the conflicts that you were having with Ms. Lively on the set? I don't right now. I don't recall. Do you recall how that call came about? No. Do you know whether you had asked for it? I don't. Okay. Do you recall her providing any guidance to you around being more sensitive to the optics? With a woman like Ms. Lively who had just given birth, with respect to the weight question or anything like that, or the fact that you literally go on and on and on about how amazing motherhood is. Objection. No, the opposite. She jumped right into putting Ms. Lively down and talking about her reputation. Did you record that call? No. Do you know if Jamie recorded that call? I don't. Do you know if Jen Abel recorded that call? I don't. Do you think she had any reason to disbelieve what you were telling her on that call? I can't speak to what she might believe or not believe. Do you recall whether or not she had recently had major surgery within the week or two before that call? This is Stephanie Jones, I think they're talking about. I remember her having surgery, and I don't remember what the surgery was, but anytime someone in my life has surgery, I would always reach out, and I'm very into like health, and I have a health coach, or had, and biohacking and things. So I think I probably reached out and offered if there was any way I could be of service to her. Do you recall any urgency around getting on the phone with her from your side to discuss these issues with her? Like I said, I really don't remember the context or when the call was or anything like that. Okay, other than this one call we've been talking about, do you recall having any other calls with Stephanie Jones during filming? Whether or not there were any other people on it, I don't. I think I'm going to skip past this because it's a little bit. Do we need to read this? Oh, yeah, we do. How often would you say you spoke with Jennifer Abel during the filming outside of the presence of Stephanie Jones? So basically, Stephanie Jones was having an operation, and Justin, who says that, you know, he's a really caring, kind person that wants the best for humanity, I believe felt a little bit put out by that. Only if there was something that she wanted me to promote or if there was anything that we were doing for the movie, but I don't have any specific memories right now. Do you recall ever having any conversations with Jennifer Abel outside the presence of Stephanie Jones, where you relayed to Jennifer Abel anything about your on-set experiences or difficulties you were having with Ms. Lively during filming? I don't remember. I feel left out of the note-taking. Sorry? I'm just joking. What? Do you recall ever having any conversations with Jennifer Abel outside the presence of Stephanie Jones where you relayed to Jennifer Abel anything about your on-set experience or difficulties you were having in this lively during filming? I don't remember. I feel left out of the note-taking. Sorry, I'm just joking. I don't get that. Why is he just joking? I'm really losing my patience with this guy, honestly. You previously, I don't know if you still do, hosted a podcast called Man Enough. Is that right? That is correct. Here we go. We're getting into the Manosphere conversation. What is the conception behind the Man Enough podcast in your own words? What is the conception? Meaning, how was it conceived? Sure, let's start there. The Man Enough podcast was originally going to be an accompanying book podcast to a book that I had released years ago called Man Enough. And what was that book about? That book was about my own journey to redefine and undefine what masculinity was for myself. I'm starting to question that very, very deeply. And can you describe that journey for me briefly here? Do you want me to describe my whole book journey briefly? Is it possible? I'm happy to try. I just don't know what briefly is. Oh my God, you're telling me. I'm just trying to understand what was the idea behind the book and the podcast and how you ended up doing a TED talk about it. Let me just check the chat. He accuses Hoover's betrayal of sending him to the hospital. Yeah, I know, right? He needs to get his story straight on some of these narratives. Oh, we've got a new person in the chat. Hi, Dread Denzian. Good to see you. He's got to plug his book. Maybe oh my God, yeah, he's already plugged his book. And there's a really big one coming up. Oh my God. I don't think Ms. Shah is going to buy it though. I think she's got the measure of him, quite frankly. She probably never wants to hear his voice again after this day of deposition, although she doesn't really have a choice in the matter. By the way, guys, there's a hearing on Tuesday, I think. The 22nd? Is it? Thursday. Yeah, there's a hearing at SDNY. If anyone's in the New York area, I think it's going to be open to the public. Right, where was I? I'm just, well, the book was really a self-exploration of looking at all the unconscious messages that I've taken on as man. But more importantly, as human in my life. Well, the other thing I meant to say as well about the digital thing, he launched this Man Enough idea as a TED talk. TED is a digital platform. It's a tech investment brand. He launched his own digital app called what's it called? Something pregnancy bump or something. In 2016, and went and did like interviews about it. The guy is so full of BS. It's unreal. Okay. Let me start again. Well, the book was really a self-exploration of looking at all the unconscious messages that I've taken on as a man, but more importantly, as a human in my life. All the mistakes I've made, the social constructs, and kind of invisible scripts that I maybe have been living by. Invisible scripts that I wasn't even aware of, and putting them in a form that I was hopeful could help other men. And the podcast, I think, was, to answer your question, was a way to have a conversation around those same topics that oftentimes were uncomfortable, so that we could have something for men outside of the book. Did the book or the podcast deal with notions of toxic masculinity? Was that part of it? I actually say in the book that I don't like to use that phrase, toxic masculinity, so I will answer your question, no. But I think that would be more of a perception based on who was listening. What phrase do you prefer than toxic masculinity, or why do you not like using that phrase? As I wrote about, I think that the phrase toxic masculinity was inherently divisive. I believed it became political. And a lot of men felt attacked by the use of the word. And I didn't feel that it made any sense to use a term that would immediately make men defensive, especially because those were the very men that I wanted to reach. And also, I don't believe that masculinity is inherently toxic. I never have. I was very proud to be a man. I never felt like I needed to apologize for being a man. And I know that was something that was going around a lot with the phrase toxic masculinity, maybe because it really is toxic. And that said, there were a lot of people that maybe kind of lumped in this idea that because I was doing a podcast and writing a book about masculinity, that I was saying that masculinity was toxic. But generally, those were people that didn't read my book or listen to my podcast. I've read your book. No, I haven't read your book. Sorry. I've listened to bits of your podcast. I'll tell you what I will say. Your first podcast episode, the round table with the men like Scooter Braun, Jamie Heath, two extremely toxic males was my impression I got of that. So maybe it was the people you chose to have these conversations with that was the problem. I just wanted to help men and help men embrace all the parts of them that made them human. And that also means the stuff that sucks and that you never want to look at, and that maybe you've been hiding or you don't even realize you're hiding. And it was just about confronting those parts of ourselves and just holding ourselves accountable. Did he just say the word accountable? To try to be better men. I think he totally missed that part. The part about being accountable. I've not seen one example ever since I've been following this case. And by following this case, I mean reading documents, looking at messages written by his own fingers where I have seen him be accountable. Anytime he was made to apologize, he had so much resentment. What a sum. I'm sorry. That wasn't very brief. It's all right. And you'll forgive me if I'm using the wrong terminology around this stuff, but feel free to use whatever you think are the appropriate words. But you said a lot. Yeah. When you said the stuff that sucks, that you never want to look at, or maybe you've been hiding, or you don't even realize that you've been hiding. Can you give me some examples of what kind of stuff you're talking about? Sure. I mean, a lot of men deal with shame. Okay, I've read a little bit through this earlier and I think I got a little bit wound up. So let me just take a deep breath. A lot of men, I mean, suicide among men is increasing yearly, and many more men take their own lives than women. And there is a belief in, and I don't say this as an expert, this is just from my own research and experience. So he's done research into this, but not into his own court case that is costing millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. There's a belief in this specific world that this happens because men don't have a support system, because men have been taught not to share their pain and their trauma. This is the bit where I literally got so wound up, because it's oftentimes used against them and weaponized against them. He literally just explained to us how he used Stephanie Jones's pain against her. And he's got the cheek to sit here and come out with this stuff. It really, really gets me annoyed because anyway, let me carry on. This is actually what toxic masculinity is about. By both men and women. So an example could be a man that was abused as a child who never spoke to anybody about it. In this case, I will give you an example of a man. Why is he going into this in a flippin' deposition? That was maybe abused by an older man, but this man identifies as being heterosexual. But because he was abused by an older man, struggles with the abuse itself and being taken advantage of. But also the fact that he was abused by a man, he's also questioning his sexuality or his gender. And also there is a preconceived notion that as a man, you don't want to go to therapy because it makes you less of a man. You know what you should have researched, Justin Baldoni? Your lawyer, Brian Friedman, works for Michael Jackson's estate. Michael Jackson, who's done exactly this to a whole bunch of boys out there and has spent years defending him and fighting the people that he abused when they were younger. You've got the cheek to sit here and come out with this in court. So perhaps this man didn't get the help that he needed, and he was, as we say, suffering in silence. And he didn't know who to reach out to. And instead, that man took out all of these feelings of shame and unworthiness and confusion about what happened to him and blamed himself and would take that out on people, on other people, maybe other men, maybe other women. Maybe this man himself became an abuser. And the whole idea is that this is something that as a man you would find embarrassing and shameful because it's not something that is socially accepted or acceptable to talk about. You know what it would be if there wasn't all these troll farms all over the place that are orchestrated by the kind of people that you just hired to go and smear Blake Lively and her husband because you weren't getting your own way. The absolute ignorance of this guy, honestly, I've reached my limit. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take a second. Oh, is it me? You should know by now when he says research, he's just talking about what's on his trending page or whatever Jamie told him. I mean, yeah. I'm using the term very loosely. I just think once I heard, I've always wondered what is TED. But once I heard it came out of a private millionaires group dinner that then rebranded as a billionaires dinner, and was attended by the likes of Rupert Murdoch, Jeff Bezos, all these creepy scientist guys, computer scientist guys, and billionaire investors. Those are the people behind TED. And they somehow managed to make the average person believe that someone like Justin Baldoni was an actual thoughtful leader in our society, when instead he's who he's showing himself to be in these depositions. You feel like an example is one of his friends? Doesn't want to name him. I mean, why are you telling someone else's trauma story, though? This is the thing. That's toxic. That is toxic. Not only that, you're monetizing it. You've built your brand on it. Anyway, let me carry on. It's just because the same people that are supporting him are doing exactly what he's just describing here. And he had the cheek to say that Blake Lively was being tone deaf. So the hope was to normalize getting the help you need to normalize vulnerability. By the way, as well, someone told me about his therapist. His therapist's name is, it's not Brett, it's something beginning with B. Anyway, I looked him up. You want to talk about cult leader? That's his therapist. They do like teen camps and stuff. The worst kind of toxic therapy, weaponizing, commercialization. Some people might call it an MLM system, like model, sorry. So the hope was to normalize getting the help you need to normalize vulnerability. Let men know that they're not alone and that there is all kinds of examples of these type of things. I'm happy to name another one if you want me to. And again, this is just a hypothetical man. And many of these men end up eventually taking their own lives. And that breaks my heart. And hurting women in the process, which also breaks my heart. Hurting women breaks your heart. I'm sorry, I find that very hard to believe, given what I just read out before I started reading this deposition. You had no problem with hurting women. You just don't even see when you're doing it, or you refuse to acknowledge when you're doing it. Did any of your work on the podcast or in this book around this idea of man enough have to do with gender norms or gender relations as between men and women. I mean, I think the entire book was inherently about gender and masculinity specifically. But as I said in the book, I'm not an expert, and the book was much more my personal journey in trying to use as many anecdotes and stories that I could find in my life to point men to a direction of maybe them being able to look at themselves. I'm sure some of that it was discussed either on the podcast or in the book as just this is a large conversation. And my book was meant to be just a tiny little piece of a personal journey mostly meant for men. I call BS on that because your round table podcast was 100% directed at women. You had women survivors having to spill their guts for you. You went and spoke to victims and survivors, and you had them speaking on camera about their experiences of sexual harassment as well as abuse. I do not believe that it was meant for men, even though that's what you're telling us here today. But as we know, many women read it and then gave it to their men. Read it, sorry, and then gave it to their men. I wonder why that was. I wonder why you did an app for pregnant women if you were really thinking you were marketing towards men. Have you seen reporting around you that identifies you as an ally of women or a feminist ally? I would say so, yeah. Do you believe yourself to be an ally of women or a feminist ally? I certainly have attempted to be. You're aware of the Me Too movement, I'm assuming. I am. Are you aware of an idea that came out of the Me Too movement that one should believe women, both believe women when they speak out about misconduct against them? Yes, I'm aware. Do you agree with that idea? I think that is a very nuanced question that I can't give you a yes or no answer to. This is getting so deep. I don't remember it being this deep when I read it through the first time. I guess they missed a lot out. Are you aware of something called the He Too movement? No, but I could imagine what it is. You're literally the poster boy for it. It's essentially a response to the Me Too movement about men who believe they've been falsely accused by women of misconduct. Is that a question? Wow, Alexandra Shapiro's been quiet during this bit. The witness. Oh, then no, I don't know what that is. Okay, what did you think it was? Objection. I actually thought it was like him too. Like he also has been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted, because oftentimes people think men can't be sexually harassed or assaulted and that it's only women. That's bullshit. That's because of Me Too that men have come forward. Anyway. But I think that if we're talking about equality, it's important to create room for men to be able to share their experiences of sexual harassment or assault. Because I believe 1 in 5 men have been sexually assaulted, which is a pretty big number. But again, not as an expert, just something that I've read. Must be true then. So that's what I thought you were meaning about him too. Are you aware of, or have you been following a lot of the commentary about you on social media since this lawsuit began in general? I have had very long breaks where I didn't. And then there have been times I feel like I need to know what's happening and I go back to look. Unfortunately, people don't necessarily respect boundaries and people send me lots of things, so I have to constantly ask people to not send me things. But there have been many months where I have not been following, and then there's been months where I have. Have you seen that online? At least you've become, in certain circles, kind of a hero or a figurehead of the MAGA movement. No. He's laughing. I don't mean to laugh, but you've not seen anything like that. No, I didn't. I didn't know where you were going with it, but I didn't think you were going with that. All right, I'm not going to ask you about your political affiliations. I don't have a red hat. Ha ha ha. I bet you frigging do. That's why I put one on you in the thumbnail. Because it doesn't matter whether you think you are or not. You literally align with everything they believe in, Justin. I hate to break it to you. Mr. Bark, you've asked about everything else. Who's Mr. Bark? Wow, he's not said anything till now. I don't care about that one. Am I? Is that true? That's all right. You just surprised me there. Candace Owens, Sage Steele, who are the other ones? Oh, I don't remember their names, but every time I post a video about this, their videos come up on my timeline, and I'm pretty sure they're all from the MAGA world. Can I time out? How much time do we have left, Mr. Videographer? We're at 6 hours, 40 minutes. Is that all? Are you sure? I'm sorry. So you've not seen the legions of MAGA supporters who have come out in support of you on social media? No. Well, I know another one, Brett Cooper. I was talking about her the other night. Okay, that's very surprising. And you're not aware that you have a very pro-MAGA fan base on social media? You're making me aware. Are these like the Make America Great Again red hat people? Ha ha ha. That's what I meant. That's what I mean, yes. Is there anything you want to show me that's like, not right now, so I just didn't know if you had been following this during the course of the lawsuit. Maybe I should. Are you aware that on social media, you've also become to some like a poster boy for the He Too movement, meaning as I said, I wasn't aware of what the He Too meant, And by He Too, I mean a movement around the idea of men being falsely accused of sexual misconduct by women. So I was aware that I was a poster boy for the He Too movement. So was I aware that I was a poster boy for the He Too movement? I was not. Okay. As I said, I didn't know what I thought He Too meant something else. Other than the term He Too, are you aware that during the course of the lawsuit, you've become kind of a hero or a poster boy for this idea of men being falsely accused by women? No, hero is a very strong word. Looks like you're on your last page. You don't have to use all 7 hours, you know. We're here. Do you know what the manosphere is if I use that word? I do know what the manosphere is. That one I do know. What do you understand by that term? The Manosphere, to my understanding, it was like an alt-right movement that took place on or in parts of the web, which I don't know. Maybe Reddit, or some places that Reddit, that thing he said he hadn't heard of a minute ago or an hour ago, that kind of bred this idea that men are victims and created, I don't know the exact term, but like these cells of men who would like take out their anger on women. The exact men and women that defend you in comments, is that who you're talking about? Are you aware that during the course of these lawsuits, you've also become kind of a hero to the Manosphere? I'm learning all kinds of new things today, so thank you. I can see that. No, I don't know where the Manosphere is, nor do I know where to find that information. But I hope that people in the Manosphere, if they do think of me as a hero, would then go read my book. Because I think that could then maybe, I always wanted to get the book into the Manosphere. This is a weird way to do it. Oh my God. Please don't, no one buy his book. No one out there ever buy his book ever again. Let not one more copy of his book be sold. And I don't mean that like as a joke. Like that was always a thing that we had talked about, is how do we reach the men in the Manosphere? So maybe God is laughing right now. Is the Manosphere a movement that you want to be associated with? Objection. I think I just answered your question. No, I'm not meaning to laugh at you. It's just, no, absolutely not. Like I said, I absolutely would want them to read my books and give my book for boys to their young boys. To read my books and give my book for boys to their young boys. Because all of my work is about helping men actually do the opposite of my understanding of what the Manosphere is, which is to not take your anger and aggression out that you have in the world. What? If you didn't know this guy and you had just sat here and listened to his deposition, his own testimony, and read his own messages that he typed out with his own hands, would you for 1 second believe this was a man who didn't take their anger and aggression out that they have in the world on other people? Because I sure as hell wouldn't. Out onto women and the women of your life, and to go to therapy and to not harbor that anger and that resentment, and to get it out of your body, and to, so maybe some good will come out of this if they are reading my stuff. But you know what? I don't feel like all of the therapy that you say you've had has helped you get rid of your anger. So why are you promoting it all the time? That's my question. Do you know whether during the course of the lawsuit, anyone on your team has been stoking these constituencies in your favor on social media? Objection. And I don't. I'm just going to instruct you not to provide any information based on what your lawyers have communicated to you. Your own lawyer has been on a MAGA channel. That's Megyn Kelly. You couldn't make this up, really, could you? That's okay. My lawyers haven't told me anything. I didn't know anything about it. So you're not aware, one way or another, whether anyone on your team has been stoking these constituencies that I've mentioned in your favor on social media. I don't know where I would even find the Manosphere, so no. Do you think Jed Wallace can find the Manosphere? Jed Wallace is the Manosphere. Jed Wallace is literally the definition of the Manosphere. He's a bald, middle-aged man that spends his life on Reddit and social media with using alt accounts, spreading hate about women. Mr. Bark, come on. We've got 6 hours and 45 minutes. If you have real questions, ask them. But this is silly. I have no idea. One defendant per deposition, please. One defendant, but one person sitting here late at night wondering what you're doing here at this point. You're just improvising. Wow, this is how they speak to a female lawyer. Ms. Shah, all right, that's enough. That's enough. I'm going to go off the record if you continue to eat up my time. Go ahead. I'm happy to answer your question. I don't know anything about what Jed Wallace knows or where he could find the Manosphere. Okay. What do you know about what Jed Wallace does? I know he's very good at compiling information and then sending it, as I believe I testified to earlier. I know he can help. I've had people call me and threat, leave me threats. I've had death threats. So I know that he knows people in security. Oh, does he? Not people that work for Jake and Logan Paul by any chance. Or Aiden Ross. So he was able to help me get security. I know that he loves his family a lot. But so do you, Justin. That doesn't mean shit. I know that I think he had a health scare. Like me. I was in the hospital. I was on a drip. I posted photos of it on my Instagram. But I don't know how much about what he does or what he can do. Have you read Ms. Jones's lawsuit in this case? I haven't. Okay. I think that's all I have for you. Thank you. This marks the conclusion of today's deposition. We are going off the record. The time is 6:46 p.m. Okay, so then let me switch. I don't want you to see me scrolling. Megyn Kelly praising him at CPAC. Right. I didn't even know about half of this stuff. I was hearing today, speaking about Drake, there's some other organization called 1789 or something. Let me make sure I've got that correct. So obviously I've known about Turning Point, and that's what Candace Owens came out of. But yeah, 1789 Capital Management, based in Palm Beach, Florida. This He Too movement, it's really serious. It really is. They're investing so much money, not just into paying for content creation, but the businesses themselves. It's overwhelming, literally overwhelming. I'm not talking about overwhelming on an emotional level. It's overwhelming our entire infrastructure. He Too is headed by Alan Dershowitz. Exactly. And, you have this whole idea that they've created about framing yourself as a victim. That's where it all comes from. It's really, really serious. I didn't think we'd be getting this serious, honestly. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay. That was quite draining, because I think At first, I thought he was a bit of a joke, but it would be a joke if it wasn't so serious, because it's like, it's very hard to find anyone that hasn't been brainwashed by this mentality. And the fact of talking about real issues that are being put onto men. And it's because of people like him. People like him are doing it. They're not helping. They're causing it. That's why I get annoyed. Right. So what happens next? It's the next day. Justin goes home to bitch on his group chat on Signal, so the messages disappear. I can only imagine what he was saying after that day. But then the next day, I wonder if he went to look up any of the stories he was told about. I wonder if he went to look up Camilla Sterling's death, and how many spam websites there are about David Bolno. That's the kind of people you're in league with, Justin, right now, but you don't know about the Manosphere. Okay. You wouldn't know where to find the Manosphere. Okay, hon. Right, so they've now got this like huge long glossary thing kind of index in the document, so I'm trying to whiz past it. It's a lot of pages, and that's why I've put you on. I was kind of thinking, like, once I get through all of this, I might do like one of my deep dives into this whole thing with Alan Dershowitz and this like return to Israel thing they do, because it's all integrated. And I know some people think it's scary, and I'm like, yeah, in a way it is scary, but then it's like, this is actually reality. This is actually what we're dealing with. Like, it helps to make sense of a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with. So, right, we're on letter T. So we're getting towards the end. I think it's like a word search thing. Anyway, okay, so now we're on to the next day, and it is the 7th of October. Thank you for saying thank you. You know, I don't think it's the same when you read it out loud. It really I don't want to say resonates, but it really, like, there's things you don't absorb when you're on a screen. Reading it out loud, it hits different. It hits different. So yeah. I did tell you as well, speaking of Alan Dershowitz, that Justin was presenting an award at an ADL dinner in 2015. I'm sure they know all about the Manosphere at those things. Okay. Jonathan Bark. Oh, he's one of right. So this is going to be the second deposition by Michael Gottlieb from Wilkie, Farr and Gallagher. And present are a huge, massive team of lawyers from Baldoni's team. Good morning, Mr. Baldoni. Good morning. I'm going to zoom in. Let's have this on super big. Have you ever been sexually harassed? Yes. When? That I have reported, or just in my life? By the way, they already showed a little bit. They showed a little excerpt of this in the previous deposition that was released, but this is like the full transcript. That I have reported, or just in my life? Let's start with when. Ones you've talked about, times you've talked about. Harassed. I believe I spoke about a time when I was in the Burke Williams Spa in West Hollywood. And I was in the hot tub waiting for a massage. And I had my shorts on, my bathing suit shorts on. And there was a gentleman that was like multiple hot tubs. And he was in another hot tub. And I saw him look at me, which I was used to, looks and things. And then he joined me in my hot tub and he started to share he was a producer or a manager. And then he tried to get me to take my bathing suit off because he said that all the other actors and celebrities go in the hot tub naked. I said I wasn't comfortable with that. So I jumped in the other hot tub. And then he followed me into that hot tub and he was nude. And he walked. I was sitting in the hot tub and he walked right up to me fully nude. And then he sat in the hot tub with me and he continued to try to get me to take off my bathing suit. And I left. And I think you told this story in an interview with Glamour magazine. Is that right? I don't know which magazine it was. I remember talking about it only once, and it was right after a speech that I gave. Okay, after that TED talk that you gave? Yes, at TED Women. Do you recall being asked the question prompting that answer? Did you ever feel like you were harassed or victimized on set? I don't remember that. Okay, but as you sit here today, this is the first example that you have brought up in response to my question of whether you've ever been sexually harassed. That's the first response that I think you asked me if I've talked about it publicly. Okay, yeah. Why did you feel harassed by what this producer did? Well, he was asking me to get naked in the hot tub with him and standing very close to me with his naked genitals, like intentionally walking close to my face. It was just him and I in there, and he was using the idea that he's a successful manager to try to get me to do something I didn't want to do, and it was very sexual. It made you uncomfortable? You could say that, yeah. And you told him that you didn't want him to do that. Yes. And then he did it again. Yes. And then you left. Yes. Why did you perceive this person to have power? Or how did he seem powerful to you? He said that he was powerful. I don't think I felt that he was powerful necessarily, but he was claiming he knew all these A-list stars, and he would say things like Clooney is in here all the time without his shorts on. Sorry. Oh, and referring to, I don't know, I was maybe 25, and yeah, he was older, much older. Did he touch you? No. Did he threaten you? No. So he didn't assault you. I wouldn't call it assault. I don't believe I characterized it as assault. I didn't say you did, sir. Yeah. You were bigger and stronger than this guy, right? I would imagine I was. This wasn't someone the size of Dwayne Johnson or The Rock or something like that. It was not. So if it had come to it, you probably could have knocked the guy out. Objection. I'm not much of a fighter. I would have left. You didn't work for the guy, right? No. So you had no employment relationship with him? No, I didn't. Okay. Do you know who he was? I think he told me his name, but did you try and find him after the incident and talk to him about it? No. Did you find him before you talked about this event in Glamour magazine? Objection. No. You didn't want to give him an opportunity to take accountability for his actions and make it right. I didn't name him, but you described him and described who he was friends with and the spa you were in. Objection. I don't know if I described who his friends were. Do you know his name as you sit here today? No. I think you've already talked about your experience with your college girlfriend. Is that right? Yes. Do you believe that your college girlfriend essayed you? I do. Do you believe she argued you? I'm not sure if I believe she did. No. If I understand some of the talks you've given about this is something that you sort of remembered or confronted during therapy. Objection. Yes. How many years after this event or events occurred would you say you confronted it through therapy? Maybe starting about 10 years after? Okay, and I'm not going to ask you about conversations you've had with your therapist or your lawyers in this deposition, but apart from those conversations with your therapist, what did you do to try to piece back together what had happened to you that 10 years prior? I mean, it was a lot of therapy, a lot of meditation, thinking about it, going back and forth. It wasn't like just one moment and then suddenly it's like, oh, that's what happened. It's a journey. And the memories, they shift and they come and go and then you justify. But it was just a lot of therapy, conversations with my wife. How long did I think you've described this as a very bad relationship. Is that fair? It was not a good relationship. The relationship with the college girlfriend? Yeah. How long did it last? I believe about 1.5 years. Did you all have mutual friends? I believe at that point it was just we all kind of had the same friends. You had a group of friends that in college, and sorry, what years of college was this for you? Freshman year going into sophomore year. Okay, so you had a group of friends that you all hung out with, and sorry, I need to back up. Where did you go to college? Cal State Long Beach. Okay, so freshman and sophomore at Cal State Long Beach. That's a big school, right? And you and your girlfriend had a relationship that lasted some amount of time. I imagine there are other people who knew who you were dating. Objection. She didn't attend the school. She didn't go to the college. Did your friends at college know who you were dating? Yeah, a few of them did. Okay, before you talked about what happened to you in public, did you go back to talk to your college girlfriend? No. Did you try to find her? No. Did you ever attempt to communicate to let her know that you were going to be accusing her of SA in public? Objection. I'm liking this very direct form of questioning. Do you believe that your college girlfriend SA'd you? I do. Oh, sorry, I read that bit. Sorry. Oh my God. Okay. I messed that bit up. Am I right Did you ever go back to talk to any of your college friends or people that you might have hung out with mutually to tell them what you were going to do? I don't know anybody from back then. Do you have any idea whether or not your college girlfriend would agree with the way you have remembered the events relating to the losing of your virginity? Objection. I don't know what she would think. I don't know who she is anymore. But you thought it was okay to go on TV and tell the world that your college girlfriend had SA'd you without ever talking to her about it. Objection. I wasn't aware I needed to ask her permission to share my story. Sorry, I haven't gone. I just had to cough. Am I right that one of the things that was most traumatic about this to you is that you were saving yourself for marriage? That was a part of it. I also just wasn't ready. And so you were a virgin at age 18 when you met her in college. Yes. And I believe your description of what happened is that you woke up in the middle of the night and she was taking it from you. Is that an accurate description of your words? No. Objection. Okay. How would you describe it? I think you're confusing two different stories. I don't. Okay. Now it's my turn to laugh, Justin. How can you have two different stories about one incident, or is there two incidents? Okay, I mean to, say you're wrong, but that wasn't the story that I shared in my book. Okay, you've never described the incident when you lost your virginity as waking up and discovering your college girlfriend was taking it from you without your consent. No, that wasn't the story of how I lost my virginity. Okay, there was. I'm mistaken then. Yeah. There was a moment in the relationship where I was woken up by her on top of me having sex with me. But that was after I had already lost my virginity. What is her name? Objection. I'm going to instruct you not to answer that. On what basis? It's irrelevant and not calculated to lead to discoverable evidence. That is not a proper basis to instruct a witness not to answer a question. I'm instructing him not to answer. Are you going to follow your counsel's instruction? I am. Would you be capable of telling me her name, but for your counsel's instruction? I would. Okay. Are there any other incidents relating to sexual harassment or abuse that you have suffered, that you have talked about publicly? I don't believe so. Did these experiences inform why you wanted to make It Ends With Us into a movie? Not. I don't know if it was a conscious thing. Once I had read it, once I was making it, it informed how I wanted to make the movie. But it wasn't like the reason for making the movie. Okay, I think I understand you. It wasn't the originating seed. No. But it did inform how you approached the making of the movie, your personal experiences. It 100% informed the narrative or arc of the film. And yeah, I would say the adaptation from the book to the script, and also how I was able to connect with it, And it obviously has informed your podcast, correct? By it, I mean your experiences we've just discussed. My sexual trauma, yes, has informed my podcast. It's not. Oh, I went too far. I believe that work should be and can be a form of service. Correct. And you believe, oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. I get confused. It has informed my podcast. It's not the reason I did my podcast, but there was absolutely moments where we discussed sexual trauma. And yeah, it's one of the many things we discuss. Okay, and I will stick with your framing, which I like, which is not the thing that caused it originally, but informed in some ways. So it's the same with respect to this question. Did your experiences inform what you wanted out of Wayfarer Studios? Objection. Did my experiences with sexual trauma inform any way what I wanted out of Wayfarer Studios? Not consciously, perhaps subconsciously. Objection. I'm not an expert on the subconscious. Oh, here we go again. But I imagine the subconscious exists in all of us. But do you believe that work is service, right? Objection. I was wondering about this. I believe that work should be and can be a form of service, correct? And you believe in the tenets of the Baha'i faith. Is that a question? Yeah. Do I believe? Yes. Absolutely. And Wayfarer is a Baha'i-inspired organization, is it not? Wayfarer Studios? I think we were very mindful, actually, to not make it a Baha'i-inspired organization, but it was inspired by the principles of the Baha'i faith. I don't believe it's officially labeled a Baha'i-inspired organization, and there are reasons behind that. Sure, it's not a Baha'i-only studio, right? Absolutely not. But it is nonetheless inspired by many of the principles or tenets of the Baha'i faith. Is that fair? By the belief system of the people who started it, inspired by it, yeah. And that would be, at least in its current form, you and Mr. Sarowitz. Correct. And you both share the Baha'i faith. We both, objection. We both share that we are both Baha'i, yes. And you both have talked about publicly many times some of what you consider to be the important tenets of the Baha'i faith. Objection. I think that's accurate, yeah. Okay. Did you ever tell anyone you ran a Baha'i set? A Baha'i set? I have no idea. I don't know what a Baha'i set would be. If I did, you're welcome to show me. Did you ever hear Mr. Sarowitz refer to your sets as any of your sets as a Baha'i set? I have not. Would you even know how to describe what a Baha'i set is? A set with all Baha'is? I don't know. Well, so you're the director and you're the co-founder of the studio, and I'm here and I'm asking you, okay? Are you sorry? Are you giving me a objection? Just let me finish my question. Okay. So let's establish some principles. Right, I definitely read this bit before. Let's skip a little bit ahead. Okay, I want to read you something Mr. Sarowitz says. And you watched some of his deposition, so you may have been in for talking about some of this. I just want to know if you agree, disagree, or is this from his deposition or something else? It's not. It is something he said elsewhere. So I'm going to read it to you and I'm going to ask your thoughts on it. Okay. This is from a talk that he gave in 2020. He said, art reflects society and society reflects. We want to make art that raises spirits. That's the number one thing. If you really want to say what Justin and I are doing together, what he does so well, and I support him in doing, is he makes movies that uplift our spirits. And I'm so happy to be his partner in doing that. So it is really another practical application of faith. Do you agree with what Mr. Sarowitz said there? I agree that those are his feelings and that it's really nice, yeah. Can you read it one more time? Do you share his feelings? With respect to what I just read you, can you read it one more time? I'm not going to read it again. Are you going to pose a question? He asked me to repeat what I read so he can decide if he agrees with it or not, and I've just done that. Yeah, I think I would agree that that's our intention, 100%. Now, let me read to you what he said 2 sentences before. He said, so I look at Hollywood right now, TV and movies is a lot of what it is gratuitous sex, gratuitous violence. It's things that lower the soul. Do you agree with Mr. Sarowitz that in Hollywood, gratuitous sex and gratuitous violence lowers the soul? Objection. Me and Steve have had many conversations where we tend to disagree on things that lower the soul. So I think that we are in agreement most of the time. And I also think that a blanket statement like that would be hard to agree with. Do you agree with him on the proposition that gratuitous sex in Hollywood films is a bad thing? Okay, so it's 10 o'clock and we're on page 38. We still have a good couple of 100 pages. But anyway, I'm signing off for tonight. The reason for that is there's actually another live going on another channel by this guy who covers Michael Jackson's case, which is still ongoing. In fact, the trial is supposed to be this year, which is for his victims, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, against the Michael Jackson estate. They've been trying to pursue this case for 10 years. They've been in litigation for 10 years, over 10 years. And they're finally about to go to trial. So he's doing a live and I'm going to go over there and watch it. It's called MJ Victims. So yeah, because in case you don't know, I'm quite interested in the Michael Jackson case as well, because obviously there's a lot of crossover with these attorneys and this whole idea of he too, because Michael Jackson also has connections to these same organizations that protect male abusers. So on that note, I'll see you on the next live. Thank you very much for joining. And please don't forget to like the video. Oh, one sec. We've got some more comments. I thought you'd gone. You saw the trailer for the upcoming biopic and got the impression they needed to pay more legal bills. Mate, it is a mess, okay? Because if you're following what's going on, Frank Cascio, the guy that's always like, he's literally pictured in some of the footage where, oh no, sorry, it's okay. Where Michael Jackson comes to the UK and where he's traveling around Europe. So he's always defended him, even though he knew Michael Jackson when he was a child growing up. Michael Jackson stayed in his family home. Now, him and his whole family have come out against the Michael Jackson estate with, would you believe it, Mark Garagos and Marilyn Manson's attorney, Howard King, who's defended Marilyn Manson against all his accusers for all these years and said that all the women consented. Yeah, they're now representing the Cassios against the Michael Jackson estate and saying that Michael Jackson bought them off and paid for their silence. So it is really wild what is going on. And also, I think Paris Jackson and the children, they are trying to investigate the estate and seeing what's been going on with the money, because they think the lawyers have been embezzling the money, a lot of money. And given all the other stuff we know about them, it sounds pretty likely. So yeah, that is a very interesting situation. That's why I'm going to go and watch it. The guy's channel is MJ Victims. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Take care.